Hey there, CJ Math students, and welcome to math task number 6. Today we are going to do rational number equivalency, but we're going to compare decimals and fractions. So a quick review on how to go decimal to percent and percent to decimal. So as it says right here, swoop 2 times to the right from the decimal. So we're going decimals to percent. So we're starting at the decimal once, twice. Make sure you put that arrow on the end of your swoop so you know which direction you went. So this should be 84%. And obviously, boom, go ahead and select that. Number 2, again, swoop 2 times from the decimal 1, 2. Right there at the 1, you don't need to worry about the zeros. Nobody says 001%. You just say 1%. And so that should be C right there. Number 3, you're going to do an Edpuzzle. And number 4, you're going to do an Edpuzzle. So you should have gotten B and C. Remember, empty space gets filled with a 0, and start from the decimal 2 times, end up in between 5 and 1. On the other side, when we're going percent to decimal, we start from the beginning of the percent, and we swoop 2 times to the left. So once, twice. Again, try to put that arrow on so you know exactly which way you're going. So this should be 0.14. And special case scenario, remember, swoop from the decimal if there is a decimal in the percent. So here is a decimal in the percent, once, twice. This is 0.644. All right, you're going to do 7 in Edpuzzle, and you're going to do 8 in Edpuzzle. So you should have gotten C. Remember, empty space gets the 0, and you should have gotten B. You got an empty space gets the 0, 2 zeros. Right? So today's focus is we're going to convert from decimals to fractions and fractions to decimals. So first, fractions to decimal. You want to divide the numerator by the denominator to get a decimal. So here's the denominator on the outside. It goes on the outside of your division sign. The numerator goes on the inside. And then you'll notice that the denominator can't go into the numerator, so that's where you get your decimal, and you add a 0, and you keep on doing it until you get 0 left over. So just to recap, the denominator goes on the outside. Spell outside. And you divide until you have no remainder. Now there is another way to do this, and that's to make the denominator 10. So for instance, 14 over 20. Think about that. If I try to make that denominator 10, it could be 10, 100, or 1,000. Let's see, 20 times what can get me to 100? Ooh, times 5. Use your multiplication chart. So you get 20 times 5 is 100. 14 times 5, 70. Again, use that multiplication chart. You could also, in this case, you could also divide both by 2, and you get 7 over 10, which would still give you your answer of 0.70 or 0.7. 50 over 24 times 2, right? Because that gives us our denominator of 100. That's what 50 times 2 is. 24 times 2 gives us 48. So when we have a base 10, all we have to do is read the numerator, and so we get 0.48, right? 25 times 4 times 4. In this case, we have, again, base of 100. 12 times 4 is 48. So again, we get 0.48. You're going to do this last one in Edpuzzle. So this was a tricky one, right? You were probably saying, well, 30 times what gets me 100? No number times 30 gets you 100. But you could go the reverse order. You could divide both by 3 to get down to 10. And so I get 6 over 10. So again, I just read the numerator, which is 0.6, or another way to say it is 0.60. So in all the cases, I'm either saying, what can I multiply to get to 100, 1,000, or 10, or what can I divide to get down to a 10? There's got to be a GCF, right? I can't just divide one number and keep the other number the same. And lastly, today we're going to do decimals to fractions. So you're just going to use the place value of the decimal to write the denominator of the fraction. So if the last place value is in the tenths, you write it over 10. If the last place value is over in the hundredths, you write it over 100. And then just make sure that you also are reducing to simplest form, or aka dividing by the GCF to get to the simplest form. So find the place value and write it as the numerator. Sorry, the denominator, my fault. Almost messed up there. Simplify by dividing by the GCF. So real quickly, quick example, But I said 0.03. That is in the hundredths place. So I would say 3 over 100, and that is totally simplified. Right? We're going to have a lot of practice together.